Imagine stepping off the street, not into a quiet, white-walled room, but directly into the mind of an artist. You're standing in a gallery where the ceiling is a swirling nebula, the floor is a pane of glass over a living, breathing coral reef, and the artworks themselves aren't just hanging on walls, they're floating, morphing, and singing. This isn't a dream. This isn't science fiction. This is the reality of the Metaverse Art Gallery, a digital frontier that is fundamentally reshaping our oldest form of cultural expression. So what exactly are these spaces? At their core, Metaverse galleries are immersive, three-dimensional virtual environments built on decentralized platforms, designed specifically for the exhibition and consumption of digital art. Think of them as the next evolution of the online gallery, moving from a flat, clickable web page to a fully explorable, interactive world. You might enter a sprawling cyberpunk cityscape in Decentraland, a platform built on the Ethereum blockchain, where the land itself is a digital asset owned by users. Here, galleries are like architectural wonders, designed by artists and collectors, ranging from sleek, minimalist cubes to towering, fantastical structures that defy gravity. You might navigate your avatar through a district dedicated entirely to art, stumbling upon a pop-up exhibition by an emerging artist from halfway across the world. Then there's Spatial, a platform that feels more like a futuristic museum, often utilizing photorealistic environments and focusing on accessibility through VR headsets and web browsers. In Spatial, you could find yourself walking through a perfect digital recreation of a famous museum, only to turn a corner and see a sculpture made of pure, shimmering light that could never exist in the real world. Or consider Cryptovoxels, with its charming, blocky aesthetic reminiscent of Minecraft, which fosters a raw, community-driven art scene. Walking through its streets feels like exploring a vibrant digital arts district, with every parcel of land a potential canvas for creativity. But the what is only half the story. The why is where the revolution truly begins. Why is this happening now? The first and most powerful driver is unprecedented accessibility. For centuries, the great art of the world has been concentrated in major cities: Paris, New York, London. If you didn't have the means to travel, you were limited to prints or online images. The metaverse obliterates that barrier. A student in a small village in India can now stand next to a collector in Tokyo, both experiencing the exact same piece of groundbreaking generative art at the exact same moment. This isn't just about geography, it's about physical ability too. Individuals with mobility challenges can now navigate vast exhibition halls without limitation, experiencing art on their own terms. It's a profound democratization of access, transforming art from a destination to a universally available experience. Beyond access, the metaverse provides artists with an entirely new creative medium, a canvas unbound by the laws of physics. Imagine an artist who wants to create a sculpture that weighs 1,000 tons or is 10 miles tall. In the physical world, this is a logistical and financial nightmare. In the metaverse, it's just a matter of code. Artists are no longer just painters or sculptors. They are world builders, architects of experience. They can create art that is interactive, that responds to a viewer's presence or voice. They can build generative art that evolves and changes over time, meaning the piece you see today might be different tomorrow. They can integrate sound, movement, and narrative in ways that a static canvas never could. Think of a painting that subtly changes its colors based on the time of day in the real world, or a sculpture that reassembles itself into a new form every time a visitor approaches. This liberation from physical constraints is sparking a creative renaissance, allowing for forms of expression that were previously confined to the imagination. This leads to the final, crucial point, the democratization of exhibition. The traditional art world is notoriously difficult to break into. It's a world of gatekeepers, gallery owners, curators, and critics. An artist could spend their entire career hoping for a single show in a respectable gallery. The metaverse shatters that model. Any artist anywhere in the world can acquire a virtual space or even exhibit in a community-owned one and instantly have a global stage for their work. They don't need permission, they don't need to ship fragile, expensive pieces across continents. They can connect directly with their audience and build a community around their vision. This disintermediation is a monumental power shift, putting creative control and exhibition opportunities back into the hands of the creators themselves. It's a noisy, chaotic, and incredibly exciting new world where talent and vision can find an audience without first needing the approval of a select few. This isn't just about putting JPEGs on virtual walls. It's about fundamentally restructuring the art ecosystem from the ground up, creating a more open, accessible, and limitless landscape for both artists and art lovers. So we've established that these virtual spaces represent a new frontier for art, but their impact goes far deeper than just being a novel venue. The metaverse is fundamentally rewiring the intricate relationships between the artist, the collector, and the viewer, changing the very mechanics of how art is created, owned, and experienced. It's a paradigm shift that's creating incredible opportunities while also surfacing complex new challenges. Let's start with the creator. For artists, the metaverse isn't just a new gallery, it's a new economy. The most visible engine of this economy is the NFT, or non-fungible token. In simple terms, an NFT is a unique, verifiable digital certificate of ownership and authenticity that is recorded on a blockchain. When an artist mints their digital artwork as an NFT, they are creating a one-of-a-kind asset that can be bought, sold, and traded. This solves the age-old right-click save problem of digital art. For the first time, a digital file can have verifiable scarcity and a clear chain of title, just like a physical painting. But the real game changer for artists lies in the smart contracts that govern these NFTs. Artists can program a royalty into the artwork's code, meaning every single time that piece is resold on the secondary market, from now until forever, they automatically receive a percentage of the sale. This is a seismic shift. In the traditional art world, an artist might sell a painting for a few $1,000s, only to see it resold a decade later for millions, with the artist receiving nothing. The metaverse economy is built to continuously reward the creator for the ongoing value of their work, providing a sustainable revenue stream that was previously unimaginable. This direct-to-collector model, free from the hefty commissions of physical galleries and auction houses, empowers artists with unprecedented financial independence and control. For collectors, the landscape is equally transformed. Art collection is no longer the exclusive domain of the ultra-wealthy. While headline-grabbing sales of multi-million-dollar NFTs exist, the metaverse has also lowered the barrier to entry, allowing a new generation of tech-savvy patrons to support artists they admire. Ownership is redefined. You're not just buying a file, you're buying a verifiable stake in a piece of culture. The blockchain provides something called provenance, a perfect, unalterable historical record of the artwork's ownership. Every transaction, from the moment of its creation by the artist to its current owner, is transparently and permanently recorded. This solves a massive problem in the physical art world, which is plagued by forgeries and murky ownership histories. In the metaverse, authenticity is mathematically certain. This new class of collector is also engaging with art differently. They aren't just storing it in a vault, they're displaying it in their own virtual galleries, using it as their digital identity, and becoming patrons and curators in a vibrant, interconnected community. And what about the viewer, the art lover? The experience is elevated from passive observation to active participation. The metaverse allows for a level of immersion and interactivity that is simply impossible in a traditional setting. Imagine an exhibition about the deep sea where you don't just look at pictures of bioluminescent creatures, you are virtually swimming alongside them as they illuminate a dark digital abyss. Imagine a historical piece where you can touch an artifact and hear a story from that era, or a data visualization artwork that changes in real time based on global weather patterns. This transforms the viewer from a spectator into an explorer, an active participant in the artist's world. This creates a deeper emotional connection and a more memorable experience, making art more engaging and less intimidating for a broader audience. However, this digital utopia is not without its challenges. The concept of digital scarcity, while enforced by NFTs, remains a philosophical hurdle for many. If a perfect copy can be infinitely reproduced, what gives the original its value? It's a question that forces us to reevaluate whether value lies in the object itself or in the certified ownership of that object. Authenticity is another concern. While the blockchain is secure, bad actors can still steal an artist's work and mint it as their own, creating a market for fraudulent NFTs. The platforms and communities are actively working on verification systems, but it remains a significant issue. And perhaps the most pressing challenge has been the environmental impact. The early blockchain technologies, like Bitcoin and Ethereum's initial proof-of-work model, were incredibly energy-intensive. Thankfully, the industry is rapidly shifting. Major platforms like Ethereum have transitioned to a proof-of-stake model, which reduces energy consumption by over 99%. But the environmental legacy remains a valid and important criticism that the community must continue to address transparently. These are not small problems, but they are the growing pains of a revolutionary technology that is rewriting the rules of art consumption for everyone involved. We've journeyed through the vibrant, chaotic present of the Metaverse Art Revolution. We've seen how it's empowering artists, redefining ownership, and creating entirely new worlds of experience. But now, let's cast our gaze to the horizon, beyond the current hype and the technical hurdles, and ask the big question: what is the long-term future of art in a world where the digital and physical are becoming inextricably linked? The most immediate debate is whether Metaverse galleries will ultimately replace their traditional brick-and-mortar counterparts. On one hand, the case for a digital takeover seems compelling. Virtual galleries have almost zero overhead compared to physical spaces. There's no rent, no climate control, no security, no expensive international shipping. They offer global reach 24/7 and provide a canvas for art that physically cannot exist. From a purely logical standpoint, they are more efficient, more accessible, and more creatively liberating. However, to assume they will simply replace physical galleries is to misunderstand the fundamental human experience of art. There is a power, an aura, to standing in the physical presence of a masterpiece. The subtle texture of Van Gogh's Impasto, the overwhelming scale of a Richard Serra sculpture, the way light filters through a stained glass window, these are multi-sensory experiences that, at present, cannot be perfectly replicated in a virtual environment. The physical and the digital offer different, not necessarily competing forms of engagement. Therefore, the most likely future is not one of replacement, but of a symbiotic coexistence. We will see the rise of phygital art. Imagine buying a physical sculpture that comes with an NFT, which unlocks an animated, evolving version of that same sculpture for your Metaverse gallery. Imagine an exhibition that exists simultaneously in a physical gallery in New York and a virtual one in Decentraland, with the two spaces influencing each other in real time. The future is not an either-or proposition, it's a hybrid, where the digital layer adds depth, history, and interactivity to the physical world, and the physical world provides a tangible anchor for our digital experiences. This hybrid future forces us to confront profound philosophical questions about what we consider real art. Is a piece of art that exists only as lines of code, as pixels on a screen, any less real than pigment on canvas? History provides a useful guide here. When photography was invented, it was dismissed by the art establishment as a mechanical process, not a true art form. The same was said of video art and early digital art. Every new technology that challenges our definition of art is initially met with skepticism. The metaverse is simply the latest chapter in this ongoing story, pushing us to decouple the value of art from its physical medium. The value of art has never truly been in the materials themselves, but in the idea, the emotion, the story, and the human connection it fosters. A metaverse artwork that moves someone to tears is no less valid than a painting that does the same. The NFT, in this context, can be seen as an attempt to restore a form of aura to the infinitely reproducible digital file, creating a new kind of authenticity for a new age. Looking even further ahead, emerging technologies will continue to blur the lines. Imagine the integration of advanced haptic feedback. You could put on a pair of haptic gloves and not just see, but the rough texture of a digital stone sculpture or the cool smoothness of a virtual glass installation. Imagine AI-driven artworks in the metaverse that act as creative collaborators, generating unique visual experiences for every single visitor, ensuring no two people ever see the exact same piece. Augmented reality, or AR, will bring this digital art out of the metaverse into our living rooms, projecting virtual sculptures onto our coffee tables and turning our city streets into dynamic, ever-changing art galleries. The canvas is expanding from the wall to the screen to the virtual world and ultimately to the fabric of our reality itself. Ultimately, the digital revolution in art is not abandoning tradition or declaring the death of the physical. It is about expansion. It is about giving artists new tools, giving collectors new ways to connect and support, and giving audiences new worlds to explore. For millennia, we have used art to tell our stories, to make sense of the world, and to connect with one another across time and space. The medium has changed from charcoal on a cave wall to oil on canvas to pixels in the metaverse. But that fundamental human impulse, the need to create, to share, and to be moved, remains the same. The metaverse is not the end of art's history. It is the exhilarating and unknown beginning of its next great chapter.